Are you anxious and stressed about the future as well? About your future, about the world's future? There's no way to sugarcoat it. The global economy has taken a beating this past week. An absolute frickin' pummeling, my friends. And if this has got you feeling completely destabilized, unsure what future you're walking into, then yay, you are having a normal reaction to a very abnormal situation. It is bizarre. In this video, I want to offer some hope for anybody watching this, particularly creative people who are watching this, but I also very much want to acknowledge the despair, because I'm feeling it too. Here's the bad news. The president of the world's richest country last week effectively threw a temper tantrum against the global economy by establishing a whole bunch of trade tariffs. Next minute, what do we see? We see the Dow Jones basically do its best impression of gravity. Naturally, some of his most vocal supporters start criticizing him. Even a couple of the Fox News talking heads turned on Trump for this move. He responds with some of the most egregious manipulation I've ever seen. And I mean both market manipulation and psychological manipulation. Just today, he tweets, "Now is a good time to buy stock." Shortly after that, he paused like 100 tariffs, effectively manipulating the market exclusively to the benefit of the people who were still loyal to him. Now, before you get too worried that I'm going to become a political channel, I'm really not. I am not a political pundit. I don't like talking about culture wars issues because I'm pretty sure every single one of them is a psyop designed to keep otherwise lovely people arguing over trivial shit so that they don't, rally together and develop class consciousness. But I'm talking about this because it affects all of us. We are looking at our own future. And if you are not feeling okay with that, neither, dude. That has got to be the most normal reaction, right? She's been like, bruh, what? I feel as if we are all in a washing machine together and nobody I like is controlling the button. So in order to retain some sanity, I think it's important we look at what we do control, what the people I respect control. And this is where we get to the good news. Because when the economy goes down, it doesn't take everything with it. There is something that goes the other way. If you look at the various recessions across the world in the past 100 years, each time the economy tanks, it seems that creativity has a moment. It goes up. And it's not just financial recessions. If you see a crisis, historically, that is a pretty good indication that you are about to see a creative renaissance. We'll start with the big one, the Great Depression. That led to the golden age of Hollywood, and arguably Disney even. Constructivism, aka the great-great-great-great-great-grandfather of Photoshop, that came out of the Russian Revolution. World War I gave us data. After the Second World War, we'll take a very low point, Japan, you get Kurosawa, the blossoming of Japanese cinema. We'll stay on the cinema theme. After Greece suffered their financial crisis in the 2000s, they had the Greek weird wave. Take Dogtooth by Yorgos Lanthimos. Won so many awards, pretty much put Greek cinema on the map. The economic turbulence of the 1970s gave us punk, man. Not just the music, but the ethos, the mindset. Probably the creative explosion that best exemplifies this is hip-hop. One of the most, if not the most popular genre of music today. And then you got the recession in recent memory, the GFC, the 2008 one.
The stock market is now down 21%.
Because we're now down 43%.
What in the world is happening on Wall Street?
I remember the day that it happened. I was 17 and I was like, okay, sounds like a them issue. At that point in time, my family was living below the Australian poverty line, and the house that I thought we owned got repossessed by the bank. Whoops. And the other thing I remember hearing a lot was, there are no jobs, there are no jobs, there are no jobs. And so I'd sort of resigned to the fact that there were no jobs. But the thing that I remember most from that era was blogs. I'm deadly serious, blogs, man. Blogs were so inspiring. Because they were complaining about the same things that I was going through. They were talking about the fact that they couldn't get a job, and meanwhile, they were getting attention on the internet, and I was like, whoa, this is incredible. There was such an emphasis on curation. If somebody found something cool, that was gold. Because the taste algorithms weren't serving you all of that cool stuff, so you had to find the person who gave it to you, and that created an ecosystem where the currency wasn't money, because money nobody had. The currency was taste and creativity and passion, and it was cool as hell, dude. Earlier, I mentioned hip-hop. Look at hip-hop during the blog era. Like blog rap. It was so new. The era before that was ringtone rap, the most commercial thing you could imagine. In 2007, ringtones were 9.6% of the music industry's revenue. That's over $1 billion. and rap was leading the charge. Naturally, this led to labels focusing their songwriting around that 15-second ringtone snippet, kind of like what you see today with TikTok. Now, because the labels were raking in that sweet mobile money, they were able to chew through artists, use them for their clout, and then leave them high and dry. Basically, whether or not you would be successful as a musician was predicated on how well you could sell a ringtone. This led to quite a lot of one-hit wonders, which I find sad. Meanwhile, 2007 led to 2008. We all know what happened then.
This could be the most serious recession in decades.
It was labels who would find an artist so they could make a few extra bucks selling ringtones. But then when they didn't have money, they didn't have the power anymore. And it reminds me of that scene from It's Always Sunny.
Ever since the recession hit, waves of new people are suddenly broke. These people have no idea how to live without money. They're what's called new poor. We're old poor.
People who used to stand between the creator and the consumer. They didn't have to be there anymore. Yeah, we've both been hit by this crisis, but so have they. And when you are a big, slow-moving institution, you don't really survive that type of paradigm shift. It's over for you. The people who actually win are the people who've got some frickin' soul in their body, man. They were people who were making legitimate cultural capital. And that's not nothing. I know it might sound like some hope core optimism, but it's not nothing. The way to sum up this sentiment is probably with, honestly, one of my favorite lyrics from the blog rap era. It's from Childish Gambino, before he was good. Very charming era of demos. But yeah, he goes, I was never worried about my wallet being empty, because when it was empty, I was still happy. I mean, we go through life hearing a lot of lyrics, but holy moly, that one just stuck. That one just stayed with me, it's still with me. It somehow directly spoke about me, my family, and the world all at once. The worst case scenario is tolerable, at the very least. I don't want to downplay anybody's financial insecurities, by the way. I am not doing well when it comes to money. I know sometimes people think if you got a YouTube channel, you might be doing well. Nah, not at all. No, and I got 2 kids to feed, all that sort of stuff. And when it comes to economically thinking about my future, I feel very hopeless. It feels like the world is just going to always put whatever I want out of reach. And I understand that there's some truth to that, but I also know that a lot of that is the baggage that I am bringing. Basically what I'm trying to say is when the material world isn't giving all too much to you, to the arts, to any of us, you get 3 things. Firstly, the commercial incentives to make slop die. Secondly, the vulnerability of the individual is super high, so people are much more eager to connect on a human level and have something more important than money because, I don't know, you gotta have something. And then thirdly, people are craving new ideas. People want the light in the dark. And maybe it's wishful thinking, but I don't know, if you look at history, man, I truly do believe that these are the perfect conditions for a creative renaissance. Take the big Renaissance, the Italian Renaissance. Arguably the first piece of proto-Renaissance art was Dante's Inferno. And you look at when he was born, right? He was born in the 1260s, and the life that he experienced, his mum died before he was 10, his dad before he was 20, the woman he thought was his muse died shortly after that, and meanwhile the rest of the world is just like freaking out around him. He's got Boniface VIII, the Pope, who had like unimaginable political power and was just abusing it like crazy. Famously the Pope who really enjoyed tax evasion. That guy. You've got plagues, you got the plague, you know, the big plague. You have wars being fought everywhere, like crazy infighting. The whole of Italy was just fractured into all of these various little nation states, just at what I guess looks like a civil war. And then this guy who's had such a rough life gets exiled, and instead of beating himself up like all the flagellants, he decides to write one of the single greatest poems in the whole Western canon, the Divine Comedy. It's beautiful, man. And I don't know, I guess as I'm coming to W of my alphabet superset, I wanted to leave you with a question that I have been asking myself. This is something that I've started asking myself last year when I got real into the Divine Comedy. I don't know if that was obvious, but the question is, what would Dante do? What would Dante do, man? His contemporaries were flagellants, people who saw pain around them and beat themselves up. People who became predictably tribal when they beat themselves up as well, because they're like, well, if you're not feeling the pain we are, you're part of the problem. No, he rejected all of that and he made something, he created something. This poet, through his story of making it through fictional hell, brought himself out of his own hell. He used creativity to do it. And in doing so, he pulled society up with him. He took it from chaos to the literal Renaissance. And that's not nothing, man. Anyway, that's all I want to say. What would Dante do? Alright, have a beautiful day, and oh my god do I mean that. Catcha. Also, my publisher is going to kill me if I don't mention this. I have a book about this exact topic coming out in like a month and a bit. Doom and Bloom, The Case for Creativity in a World Hooked on Panic. I put my soul into this thing. You can pre-order it now. There we go. I've met my book promo quota. But do check out the book.